Okay, so hello and welcome to Far From Idea.
Is that what we're doing now?
No, it's not. That's one and only time I'm ever going to do that.
I love how you instantly put on a different voice for it.
It's all fake. It's all a lie. This week we're again doing something a little bit different. We're going to talk about your experience at the Berlinale Film Festival, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Berlinale is one of the big film festivals in Berlin. Why did you decide to go?
That's a good question. Why did I decide to go? When I booked it,
Yeah.
everyone was like, oh my God, it's going to be so cold. And I got really angry because I was like, I live in the UK. I know cold. I know it's winter. I'm not a moron. Like, I know. Oh my days. I did not expect it to be that cold. Just this Russian wind backslapping you every time you leave the house.
Yeah, there's different kinds of cold, right?
There are different kinds of cold. I remember when you first moved to Toronto.
Yeah.
It was like -20. And I asked you how it was. And you were like, it's fine as long as none of your skin is exposed.
And it's also like, it's fine as long as you don't stay outside for more than like a minute.
Yeah.
And everything's built in really cold places so that you don't ever have to, right?
Yeah, Berlin, yeah, not so much. I mean, it did snow on the first day, which was really beautiful. You know, in the UK, when it snows, it's pretty and then it's all slush for like a week.
Yeah, and it's a novelty as well, right?
Yeah, but like it snowed properly. There was snow everywhere. And then it was so cold that the snow just turned to ice. So then for the whole week, there was just ice everywhere.
Yeah.
Which was also fun.
I was chatting to my dad the other day, and there's like deep snow here at the moment, and I had him on video call, and he's like, "Oh, why don't you throw snowballs?" You know, I'm so
how well you know me.
Well, I'm so like it's so weird that I'm so
desensitized.
to desensitized to like snow being here that I wouldn't even. It's not even a thought that would ever cross my mind to like do anything with the snow other than avoid it.
It's just there.
Anyway, you went to a film festival.
I did. Why did I go? So I had already planned to go to watch the films. Yeah. And then a director who I've written scripts for in the past and have written a script for recently was going to the EFM, which is the European Film Market, which is the business side of the festival. And he was like, you should come to this. And so I was like, sure, why not?
So there's different parts of the festival. How does that work?
Yeah, so you have the kind of main public-facing part, which is the premieres and the red carpet and all of the screenings that goes on for 10 days.
Yep.
And everyone can buy tickets for, and you go and see the films.
Yeah.
And then you have the EFM, which is part of Berlinale, which is the European Film Market, and that is only the first 5 days. It's like a cross between a film festival and a conference and just a massive networking weekend.
Right, okay.
So lots of meetings, lots of talks, panel talks, different organised events by different film bodies and different partners in the film festival. And then you also have market screenings, which are...
people looking for distributors, right?
Yeah, exactly. So anyone who has a film that they're looking for distribution, they will have multiple market screenings. So it will be, you know, some of the films that are already in the festival that are available to the public, and a lot of them that aren't, because it's films that need international distribution or looking for any kind of distribution. And it's such a different experience to see the market screenings. It's a totally different viewing experience.
How so?
Well, everyone leaves.
Oh, what? Well, they see the first 5 minutes and they're like, I get the idea.
So
Really?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, going right from the beginning, the screening rooms is a massive range. You could be in a room where it's basically a like pull down projector and these fold out chairs.
Yeah.
Or you're in the cinema with the massive seats that all recline because they're just filling up all of the rooms. And everyone's just on their phone because they're all emailing and organizing their meetings.
Right.
But right up until even the opening credits, they're still just doing their work, you know?
Yeah. What? And then they leave like literally 5 minutes in?
Literally 5 minutes in. So
it's like a wine tasting, isn't it? It's like you like take a mouthful, spit it out.
Yeah.
It's like, what's
exactly.
the point? Like just drink the, anyway.
Well, the point is you've got to drink 18 bottles of wine that day.
Like, so. Yeah, exactly. And if you've got to watch 10 films that day, then you're not going to watch... there's no time.
It's more than that. It's that hour. There'll be 6 screenings that hour. And if you're a festival programmer, So one of the things that was interesting was I had this whole journey of, the first one I went to, the film was good. It was quite slow, but the screening room was full. Like they weren't letting people in. It had completely filled up. And then the point where people left was when the dialogue started because the sound wasn't mixed properly.
Oh.
And so...
Oh, so you're seeing stuff which is unfinished in this?
No. I think it was finished, but it just wasn't.
Oh, it just was... It just wasn't good, right?
It was good. It was good. It was just, very low budget indie.
Oh, okay.
And it just wasn't quite, the images were beautiful. The story was great. The acting was great, but the sound mix was just a bit off.
Right. Okay. That's such a shame.
Which is so small. It is, but if someone loved that film, then they could come on board.
But it's such a barrier, right?
It's
such a barrier for
finished.
people to pick it up. Yeah.
Because I'd heard in the past people saying about these sales screenings where they leave after 5 minutes to make offers, and that's in the kind of other bigger festivals. If it's a big film that they know is going to do well, then there'll be a sort of battle between different distribution companies and different agents to sell it, to buy it.
Okay, like an auction type.
Exactly,
setup.
and that's kind of what you want as a filmmaker. You want there to be that competition because it raises the price.
Right? Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, makes sense. Like an auction. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly like an auction. Yeah.
I mean, it is an auction.
Yeah.
It's a film auction. Yeah. Keep saying like an auction.
It's very much like an auction.
Yeah.
I then met a sales agent later from Toronto, actually, and he said that they're not leaving because it's bad. They're leaving because they've decided if they're going to request a screener, so like an online screening link from the filmmakers, to then show the rest of the company.
Oh, so if it's applicable to them or not, right?
Or not, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I mean, that makes sense. There may be stuff that people just immediately sift out in that way, right? And it's not worth your time.
Yeah. You can tell in the first 5 minutes what the level is.
Yeah.
And if you are a sales agent that has a particular slate, like you are looking for specific films to fill that, then you're going to know this fits it or it doesn't, at least enough to know whether it's worth asking for the screener and telling your colleagues to watch it.
It's such an interesting world of the business of art in that kind of way, right? Mm-hmm. It's such a different motive being there to the, I guess, the front end of the festival, which is like a celebration of the artistry of these films and of these actors and these directors. It's giving out awards.
Yeah.
On that subject, the Golden Bear is the big award from Berlinale, right?
Yeah, so there's Golden Bear, Silver Bear. I don't know if there's bronze.
It feels like there should be.
There should be, but maybe there isn't. I don't know.
If there's those two.
And there's Honorary Bear, and it was Tilda Swinton this year.
Oh, okay. Wait, so what's that? Yeah. That's like a lifetime achievement type thing? Or?
Yeah, exactly. They're like the patron of the festival this year.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Wait, so who won the Golden Bear?
Dreams, a Norwegian film.
Oh, okay, cool.
One of the great things about the market screenings was that I managed to see films that I wasn't going to be able to get tickets for the actual screening because they sold out, but I could just go and sit in a room with sales agents and watch it there.
And how did you get into that side of the festival?
I bought a ticket.
You just literally buy a market like no.
No, you have to get accreditation. So you apply for a market badge, and with that application is a CV and a cover letter and explaining who you are and what you're doing, and you have to be part of the industry and working basically to get it.
Gotcha.
And also pay.
On that subject, well, yeah, obviously, yeah. Yeah, take you for everything you can, won't they? On that subject, though, you went there not with a film that you have that you're looking for distribution right now, right? You went there looking for the networking side
with
of
script.
things. Yeah.
More from the finance side, yeah. I was there looking for producers, like co-productions. So looking for production companies to work with for a feature and for financing for that feature.
Cool. Do you want to talk about that feature at all now, or is that something you want to keep tightly under wraps?
Sure, I've hardly talked about it at all in the last month. Yeah, so it's a World War II period drama, and I can already feel myself going into like pitch mode.
You're back in Berlin.
At a time when there's so much division and polarization. Yeah, it's a female-led queer perspective on Nazi Germany, which has become more and more relevant, scarily.
And wait, is it actually set in France?
No, it's set in Germany, but it has two French characters who speak French in it.
So you're looking for a cross production.
I went with the idea that I needed a German production company, so it would be a UK-German co-production. Turns out nobody wants to work with the UK.
Surprise, surprise.
It's not completely true. There were
barriers, right?
Yeah, there's barriers. It's a completely different system. The German companies who do want to work with British ones, it's because they've already done it. So they have that infrastructure in place and they understand the systems. But the ones who haven't, it's not worth it when you've got, the rest of Europe to work with.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you're looking to make this in German and French as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then through attending different talks and meeting different people and understanding more about how it works and the kind of puzzle of financing, actually learned that I need a French production company first, which was really interesting because there's a lot of French funding, grants and things, as long as you meet the requirements of it being a French co-production. And then it's easier to have a French-German one. It's the classic, you need some money to get more money.
Sure. It starts to snowball, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's that thing of being able to say to people, this is a legit thing, right? Like
someone else likes it. It's
place.
The advertising thing,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Like, look, he likes it. It's the Eddie Izzard thing, how advertising has changed and how it used to be like in the 50s, they would say, buy this thing, it will make you happy. And now they're like, look at that. They've got that.
Yeah. I feel like it's like a Mad Men type thing or something where it's like getting all of the pieces together independently, saying this guy's on board already when he isn't to someone else, and then going to the other guy and saying, well, this guy's on board already. And so you've said to both of these people that the other person's on board already. Yeah. Neither of them actually are, but each of them think the other one is. So each of them get on board.
I just can't do that. It's not in me to do that. Yeah. And it's really hard to witness other people doing that and to be all right with it because that's just not how I function. And one of the great things about the FM and being at the market was that, you're really outside of I was really outside of my comfort zone.
Sure.
But to have come out of it and see that the best connections that I got from it were the ones where I was completely myself.
Sure. I literally saw someone talking about that the other day about networking, where it's like, network with people you like.
Yes, it helps a lot.
Don't try and force networking with people that you feel that you should be networking with, because it's not going to work in the long term, right? If you're actually going to try and work with this person, then there has to be a base level of liking that person, respect for that person.
Yeah, and like a good connection, I went to one of the last days, there was this massive queer networking event that I was like, I have to go to that because I've missed the other ones. But this is like day 9. It can't have been day 9. It felt like day 9. And
well, how many days were you there for?
The festival was there 10 days.
So that's the entirety of the festival across 10 days.
The whole festival, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But the market was the 13th to the 19th.
Right, okay.
So this must have been, day 5 or something.
Gotcha.
And any time where you're like, I should do this, that's when it's really hard. And I walked in and it was just, I don't drink and everyone's in these little groups and everyone looks really cool. And I was like, I don't want to be here. So, but then what's great about it is I was like, do you know what? I don't have to be here. And I left. And then outside in the smoking area, met someone who had just had a film screened. She was also hiding from too many people and is opening a cinema in Cologne.
Oh,
so,
cool.
It's that thing where once you just allow yourself to do the thing that's right for you, that's when the best connections happen.
Yeah, you find your people.
Yeah, lots of people get put off by the word networking, and networking is just chat. All it is just chatting to people. And one of the most amazing things about the market was it was quite intimidating at first because I'm on the younger end of the people there, or at least I look like I am. So people think I am. Yeah. But still on the younger end, there's a lot of people who have been in the industry for decades. But then when you actually start talking to people, you realize that it's all just film people. Yeah. So you can just talk about film. Literally, like some of the best people that I met, I didn't pitch them. We just chatted about film and we had really similar interests and we had similar ideas on things and, liked the same stuff or didn't like the same stuff. And that's much more important because those are the people who, when you do work together, you have a similar vision, and that's way more important than, I mean, obviously it would be nice to be given 10 million for something, but like that's not, you're not going to say no, but the long-term connections are more important, I think.
I mean, I know there are people that have a purely financial stake and interest in film.
Yeah.
And that's why they're involved with the business. The majority of people that you're going to be meeting the business side, the networking side is secondary to a love of film though, right? Mm-hmm. Because, it's if you want to make a lot of money, that's not the business to get into, right?
No, definitely not. If you're in it for the money, then you've made a mistake somewhere.
So there's always a kernel of passion in those people.
Well, it's
right?
interesting that you say that, because I was aware in the Q&A screening, so where there was a public screening, and then they have the director and maybe some of the cast at the end who will answer questions, and you and I, we were at TIFF.
Oh, which is the Toronto International Film Festival.
Yes, that one.
Yeah. Just throwing around acronyms. Yeah. No, I mean, everyone knows what TIFF is, but it's good to just...
I feel like each festival has a different audience, and so the kind of questions are different. And I have never been to a festival that was so... Oh, what's the word? You know what I'm trying to say about TIFF, about the questions, right?
Yeah, so you get people in the audience. I mean, I've only been to TIFF. You've been to Sundance as well, right? Mm-hmm. You've got a better frame of comparison. I don't know if it's a North American thing. I don't know if it's just a TIFF thing, but you get people asking questions from the audience where they will monologue about themselves for like a full minute before winding their way around to sort of half of a question.
That's normally just a statement.
Yeah, exactly. How can I make this moment all about me?
Yeah.
And about how I connected to the film, and I get to talk to this director, oh, look at me, sort of thing.
And you can see the director on stage just like, oh my God, what is the question?
Dying inside, yeah. It's strange. It's really strange.
Sundance wasn't like that at all. And that was my first experience of it, where all of the questions were just so specific about the filmmaking. And I got, I guess, spoiled by that, because then when we got to TIFF, I was like, why is everyone talking about themselves?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they didn't do that at Sundance. It was really, all about the film. The one exception to that was brilliant. It was a film called Kim's Video, about Mr. Kim's video store in New York. And it was this documentary. It was brilliant. I don't know if it's online, but if it is, you should watch it. He had this video rental store with loads of rogue and international kind of bootleg copies of videos. And it was a real hub. Like the Safdie brothers would go there. It was a real community hub. He gave away all his videos. They got taken to Italy, and then this filmmaker tries to track them down, and it's brilliant.
Oh, wow. Anyway, okay.
It's such a good film. And then this woman got up in the audience and she was like, so I'm a filmmaker. I have a film screening at Sundance, and I used to go to Kim's Video. It was relevant. She wasn't just like, hey, check me out. She was thanking him because he was there and he was really touched by that. And it was such a beautiful moment.
It's a genuine connection. Yeah.
Yeah. And her point was, for everyone here sitting here being like, I wish I could have a film at Sundance, you can. It's useful for everybody, rather than just, this really reminds me of the time that I also had the thing that happened in the film. And you're like, yeah, that's why they made the film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And some of those TIFF questions really were, let's say, someone in the film fell in love. And it's like, well, speaking as a person who fell in love for the first time in 1983, let me set the scene for you. And it's like they're doing their own little sort of weird short film pitch themselves in the audience. And then they wind around to, so did you enjoy making the film?
Exactly.
You're like, wait, what? What was that all about?
How is that the question? Why is that the question? It's funny you say whether it's a North American thing, because I didn't think so because of Sundance.
Right.
But then... And the whole week of Berlinale, the only two people that did that were American.
Right, okay. What was the kind of crowd like, actually, in that sense? What was the sort of demographic split in terms of different countries?
Oh, so varied. So varied.
A big German audience? Or?
I mean, it's hard to know because I obviously saw such a small subsection of it,
Yeah. You didn't speak to every person, yeah.
I did try. Yeah, it's really hard to say because, I mean, the people I spoke to, lots of women, very international, a wide age range. But that's because I was going to the talks on gender equality and like that kind of thing. So that's how I met people. Right. But, I went to the Welsh Film Board drinks and I didn't meet a single Welsh person.
Oh, wow.
But I met lots of other people.
Interesting. Who are some of the people that you met that sort of stood out as people that you think that you'll definitely connect with afterwards?
That's a good question. There are a few people that I had been introduced to by someone I know in Berlin who are based in Berlin, and we kind of had a little group, like a WhatsApp group, and people got added into it, and that was really nice to have that base.
Oh, nice.
Because it's a hard thing to do on your own, and it's
yeah.
So, and it's really draining. So just to have people who could be like, we're in this place now if anyone wants to come for coffee. So you could just relax a little bit and not be on all the time.
Yeah.
And they were lovely. And they had a film showing called Berlin Loop. That was really good. And it was a really nice, scrappy, indie, a sci-fi. Don't want to give away the... Don't want to spoil it.
No, of course. Yeah.
But that was really good. And actually at the screening, I met the official German voice actor for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Right. So when you hear a German voice of Arnold Schwarzenegger dubbed, it's this guy now.
It's this guy, yeah.
It's so funny that exists for someone whose first language is German.
Oh, yeah, because he said it's because he's Austrian and he doesn't sound good, apparently.
Wait, what do you mean?
In the same way that each country has another country that they take the piss out of. You know, in England, we might make jokes about the Irish. In France, they make jokes about Belgians. In Germany, it's Austria.
The accent, right.
The accent. It would be like having the Terminator voiced by like a Bristolian.
Oh, wait, but so Arnold sounds like that when he speaks German as well, though?
No. I'm talking about Arnold because he's Austrian. He's not German. He's Austrian.
Oh, and the guy that you met is German.
And
he's voicing, but he's not doing an Austrian accent when he does it.
No. No, he's speaking German as, you know, Terminator.
Just like in a standard sort of German dialect, yeah.
Yeah. Non-regional dialect.
Yeah. No, it's just the idea of someone doing it, if they were doing a dubbed version of the Terminator, an English version of a foreign language film, and doing it in a Bristolian accent, there's something funny about that, yeah.
Well, there's the whole Bill Bailey thing where he was talking about how he was auditioning for Lord of the Rings to be a hobbit.
Oh, yeah, he does a West Country accent, right?
Yeah, because he was like, oh, I better hide my accent.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to want that, and then they cast, and then everyone has West Country accents.
Yeah, you're right there, mate.
The best people I met, I was just sat in the cafe because I wanted to not get away from everyone, but I didn't have the energy to go and do the networking thing, you know?
Yeah.
And there was one woman who was sat next to me and she had prompt cards, obviously about to do a talk or something.
Yeah.
I had actually met, on the first day, I'd met a Canadian executive. I asked him if he had any advice and he was like, just say hi. That's all you need. Just say hi. Because you get really choked up being like, oh, what am I going to say? I'm going to be like, hi, my name's Hannah and I want to, here's this film and can I have loads of money?
Yeah.
It's like, no, just say hi. It's people. And it worked so well. It's so simple, but it meant that, you know, the people where I was sat next to them and I said hi and they went hi and turned around. I'm like, okay, cool. Guess we're not going to be friends then. And then the other people where I said hi and it started a conversation, it was really natural.
There is an element as well of this where you say about like going into your head and being like, can I have millions of pounds? And like, you're not necessarily just there for this one film,
no, not at
right?
all. No.
Like, you're not necessarily just there to try and finance this one thing. It's becoming part of that community. It's becoming a recognizable face to these people, right?
Yeah, that's it. You nailed it, because I was trying to be careful before I went, not to have the expectation of like, I'm going for this specific thing and that's it.
Yeah.
For lots of reasons, you know, not to be disappointed if it didn't happen, but also not to be closed off to other things happening. So Gabriella, this executive who was practicing for her speech, when I said, you know, do you want to practice? Because that was my in.
Oh,
nice. Like, do you want to do that out loud?
Yeah.
And she was like, no, I'm doing my first round table and I'm a bit nervous. And then we just talked for like an hour and a half before her event and we ran into each other later and she was brilliant. And we just, we really connected on film and on the industry and on what we're trying to do. And she was just lovely. I did talk to her about my feature and I talked to her about some other stuff that I was there for, but she was also telling me about the things she's been working on and the kind of stuff she looks for. We talked a lot about I'm Still Here and, you know, what it means for Brazil, that there are the Oscar nominations and that kind of thing. And then actually it was right at the end where she mentioned a production that's a co-production with Brazil and Japan. And I suddenly had this click of, oh, wait, I have a project like that. With my friend Ali, we wrote a thriller comedy that's set in Japan but happens also in Brazil, and then I was like, just those two words together, Japan and Brazil, I was like,
I've got something in my back pocket.
Yeah, exactly. And then she was really interested in that, and that's what I mean about being open. It's like there were so many times where I would go to a panel talk and there are, you know, 4 producers and they're talking for an hour about their experiences and they're obviously people who care and people who make great stuff. And then they get absolutely swamped at the end by people shoving business cards down their throats.
Right. Yeah,
That's not how anyone should behave ever, regardless of whether you're networking or not. Like some of the things that I saw people do to speakers, where's the consent? You know, it was just like coming up and
yeah, they're a piece of meat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, I ended up talking to this producer. I saw her come out of the room and she just looked down at her hands and she had like 6 business cards.
Yeah, it's such a bizarre way to try and connect.
Yeah, I just went and, you know, I'd seen the film the night before. And so I said what I thought about it. And so we had a really nice chat and that was it.
Because you're not looking for something which is purely transactional in that moment, right?
No.
Which is good attitude to go in with, yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting time for me because I have always, I mean, you know this better than most, but I've always avoided the business side. It's not natural for me. Like I want to make films and write them and talk about them. And this was a real dive into, this is where stuff is happening. This is how you actually get stuff made. And on a big level, you know, people are throwing around figures like 30 million as a small budget, you know.
Yeah.
To be there and to understand how the business works and still be authentic to how you want to make things. And that's where what you were saying about, you know, speaking to people that you get on with is so important. Like one of the best meetings I had was with someone who I'd emailed them my pitch deck. So, you know, the kind of basic idea and comparisons and information about the film. And she'd said to me, you know, we don't have room for this on our slate. We don't have the money for this right now, but I'm interested. If you're still up for meeting, then we can. And obviously I was like, yeah. And we had an amazing conversation. And again, we ended up talking about Anora for half an hour. Like it's human. Like the whole it's who you know thing can often feel like nepotism. And that definitely is a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a foot in the door thing, right, with nepotism. And you can put your own foot in the door by knowing people, right, by getting to know people.
By getting to know people.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I wanted to go back to something which I should have asked you at the time. What was her roundtable on, the Brazilian woman that you met?
It was on Brazilian financing because Brazil has one of the highest state-funded cinema industries in the world.
Oh, okay. So they have a lot of grants effectively to make films from the Brazilian government. So a lot of like tax incentives and things as well to do that, I imagine.
Tax incentives and facilities, production facilities.
Right. Okay. Wait, so is there a lot of US stuff that shoots down there then?
I don't know.
Okay. Because they're always looking to take advantage, aren't they? If there's an ability to.
Yeah, they are. I feel like because of the language, it's more likely to be European.
Right. Okay.
Because of Portuguese.
So
that was a total guess. I've got no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense as well in terms of like coming out to Berlin. But I guess it is the entire international community that's there. So there's US people there as well as European people there. It doesn't matter.
I only met 2 Americans the whole time I was there, and they were so loud, and they knew they were loud, and we talked about how loud they were to the point that he was like whispering, and he was like, "You can still hear me." Like, yep, I can still hear you.
Now you've been to 3 out of the big 5 film festivals. So there's Venice, Cannes, Berlin, Toronto, Sundance. Mm-hmm. Do you think you're going to go to Cannes next?
Yeah, I have my ticket.
You have a ticket already? Last time we spoke about it, you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'll go to Cannes." Like,
oh yeah, no, we spoke like what, yesterday? No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's moved on since then. Yeah.
So I got some advice from another director. Again, you know, we met at an event, and then we kind of ran into each other another day, and then we had lunch on her last day, and she had been given some advice. This is the other thing that I want to get across, is that there's this idea of the industry that's so hard and harsh, and that exists for sure, and there are a lot of barriers, and also there are a lot of really, really nice people who are just love film and want to make it happen.
Look at Nick Holt, you know.
It's lovely
lovely guy.
Did you see his reunion with Hugh Grant?
I think I've seen bits and pieces of that. Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry. There's nice people in the industry.
There are nice people in the industry. Yeah, so Amit had been advised that the way to follow up from Berlin is you email people and you say, "Are you going to be at Cannes?" Because Berlin has this, I mean, it's Berlin anyway, it's a bit rugged. It's kind of, everyone's testing it out. Everyone's got their ideas, or they're at a certain point with their project, and they're finessing ready for Cannes in May.
Right.
So Cannes is the big one. And she was like, you basically email everyone and you say you're going to be at Cannes, and then you go or not, depending on whether you get meetings. I was like, that's amazing advice. Thank you. And then I looked at the dates and it fits perfectly between the 2 weddings that I had in May. And I was like, I guess I'm going to Cannes. Is there a market at TIFF, or is it just the screenings?
I have no idea, because we just went to the screening side of it, and that's all I've been to. Yeah. In fact, a lot of people at Alana's company have worked at TIFF at one point or another. It's a really common pathway for people in Toronto that they end up going through that organisation, because it's an organisation that runs all year. They've got their own cinemas there, and well, cinema, but with a set of screens, and they run events and things throughout the year. Cinema
sounds like a nickname for like a granny.
Well, we did mention my grandmother in an earlier episode. That's what she would have been called. R.I.P. to cinema. We're well into this episode, and we haven't even really touched on
the films.
Any of the actual films that you saw at Berlin.
I did see a lot of films.
What were your top films that you saw there?
Oof. One of my favourite films was called No Beast So Fierce.
Okay.
In German. And it's based on Richard III, the Shakespeare play, which I did not know.
I don't know that play at all. Yeah.
But it's using so you have these 2 noble houses, York and Lancaster, but in the film...
War of the Roses, right.
Sure.
Well, it's because one of them's the red rose, one of them's the white rose.
Yeah, I believe
right?
you. I believe you. I have no idea. But in the film, they are 2 Arab crime families.
Oh, okay. Okay. In what country?
In Germany. Is it in Germany? I don't know if it's in Germany.
I didn't see the film.
It's in German, but it's very theatrical in its staging. It was really Shakespearean. It was interesting to watch a film where you could feel that the language was Shakespearean, but in German. A lot of monologues, and it was one where it's like 3.5 hours long, because it was a market screening. I had planned to go and then leave because I had something else to go to after, and I just couldn't leave. It was so good and really...
Were you the only one there by the end? No.
No, there were lots of people, but it has Hiam Abbas in it, who is the Arab Israeli actor that is in Succession. She plays Marcia.
Oh, I was gonna say, that name is so... Yeah,
she's
okay,
brilliant.
Cool.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. It's a female lead, which I assume is not in Richard III, that works really well. And there were these panels in between, not each act, but different sections that had, what's the word for it? Like a decree, like a royal invitation type thing.
Oh, yeah.
But then it also had an Arabic word over it. And it was just, super, super interesting. And the sound design, the lighting, the performances were great. So that one I really liked. Bit of a different one that I also liked was Lesbian Space Princess.
Yeah, okay.
Which actually won the Teddy Award, which is the Queer Cinema Award.
Oh,
and
nice.
It came second for Panorama, which is a different section of the festival.
Okay.
And it's this unbelievable achievement. So Emma Hobbs is the animator and Lila Varghese is the writer-director. And they did it with 4 people. An entire feature film animation.
Wow.
50 weeks animating with only 4 people on like $600,000.
They're Australian, is that right?
Yeah, Adelaide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing seeing people do this. I mean, because obviously we talked with the Oscars about Flow as well in Latvia. People doing these really, really low budget, really small team animation projects that have the potential of cutting through.
It was really good. It was funny. Lots and lots of puns, lots of meme culture. It was very like Adventure Time style animation. It's a musical as well.
Oh, right. Oh, wow.
The intro song goes, she's a lesbian, she's in space, and she's a princess. So it's like that style.
You said 4 people animating. What's the size of the actual cast of it?
10-ish, I'd say.
Really small production.
Like 2, really small. So like 2 or 3 main, like 3 main, maybe like 6 main characters, and then loads of like additional people. They had a kind of reversing the social hierarchy thing in it. So it's she's a princess from the planet Clitopolis. With like lesbian queen mums.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very good. So that one I really liked.
Nice.
And then a couple of really good Irish films as well.
Okay.
So Christie, which was, again, super low budget, but really well done, about a boy who is coming up to the end of, he's almost 18 and he's been in care. and then he has to live with his brother. And at the beginning, it feels like it's going to go down that road of, he's messed up and then he's going to be on the streets and you can see the kind of gang approach happening. And then it just doesn't. And it's so beautiful. We need films that give us hope and not the opposite.
Yeah, it's nice to see stuff which subverts expectations as well, where it sets you up to go in one direction. You're like, oh, okay, I've seen this a million times before, and then it does something which is surprising, right? It's nice to see things which are surprising. Totally. And you talk about recontextualizing Richard III in Germany with Arabic speakers. It's nice to see different cultures together, which take you into interesting and new directions.
Yeah, exactly. And Christie used a lot of non-actors, and that relies heavily on the director having an approach.
Oh, yeah.
That is a lot more holistic and it was really, it was uplifting without being cliche.
It was Christie, that one.
Christie, yeah. And then the other Irish film I saw was like total other end.
They do join a gang.
It's only gangs.
It's all gangs, yeah.
So it was called Bring Them Down. And it has...
Oh, shit. This sounds...
Barry Keoghan and Christopher Abbott. So like
yes,
bigger,
okay. I think I've seen some trailers.
Much bigger.
Yeah, okay, cool.
It was good. It was... I mean, it's fucking bleak and heavy, but it's...
So you're coming around on old Barry?
I mean, look, his performance was great in this. It was really good. I will say casting him as the son of people who look the same age as him was potentially a risk.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you want to see Barry Keoghan and Benedict Cumberbatch plays his dad. And...
Sure, and then I could just not watch it.
Yeah, and then you could just be certain you're not going to watch it. Yeah.
Christopher Abbott did a really good job. He speaks Irish in it and has a fairly solid accent for me anyway. But who am I?
I can pick a correct Irish. What was I saying about Selena Gomez in Emilia Perez?
Spanish. Her Spanish just wasn't up to scratch for you.
I've got no ear for this stuff. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, one film that I did actually think of you.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Girls on Wire, Chinese film, and it's about a stunt double. I mean, it's about cousins and their relationship, but one of the characters is a stunt double. It could not be further from the Fall Guy.
Right.
In everything, in tone, in style, in content, just all of it was so different. Being a stunt double in China, she's a martial arts double.
Right, yes, of course, because there's a huge industry there for martial arts screen acting, effectively, right?
Exactly, but it's brutal because she has to do all the bits like be dunked in a river over and over and over and over and over again, and is not any kind of celebrity or even well paid.
Sure, there's a whole thing about the schools that you have the options to send children to in China are relatively limited, and so one of the options is very often to send them to what is the remnants of a Shaolin type institution, and martial arts is what you end up learning a lot of alongside regular schooling. But there's very little pathway for people who go to those sorts of schools other than to the best case is that they get into those sorts of positions in the film industry, right? Yeah, exactly.
But even then, when they do, you're not necessarily sorted.
Yeah, you're not the guy, right? You're fodder, effectively. Because there's always more people behind you, right? Because there's so many people that have that sort of skill set.
Yeah, exactly. There was a really fun one, a satire called Magic Farm with Chloe Sevigny.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, so good. So the director, Malia Ullman, it feels like nowadays it's really hard to do satire because how do you satirize the world? And she managed it. It's a TV crew, you don't really know if it's TV or YouTube or something, who accidentally go to the wrong farm and have to make content happen. And they're just all horrible people and it's excellent.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, they're horrible people, but they all have heart. Like, you really identify with them. And I think that's such a skill to do that.
Yeah, it's such a sad thing in every single medium when you see people that aren't willing to try to represent people that are monstrous.
Yeah.
And so I think it really does stand out when you get people like that. In TV, you've got one of the longest running sitcoms ever in It's Always Sunny, right? Where the whole core conceit is that they are monstrous and they will follow monstrous impulses.
Yeah.
But you can understand it because they have characteristics which are intelligible, dialed up to 11. In stand-up comedy, you've got, Anthony Jeselnik? Great stand-up comedian who writes really, really good jokes. He's also he's a very handsome guy.
I'm going to look him up now that you've said that.
Pretty nasty humour. I think he has talked about having always been immediately disliked by an audience, because there is something about like a handsome guy getting up in front of an audience to do stand-up that immediately they're on the back foot a little bit.
It's so hard for the handsome guys.
Well, I mean, in that context, it kind of can be, because there's this kind of like, all right, make me laugh, handsome.
Yeah.
No, I've had this problem every time I got on stage, you know? But, no, not really. But then it's that thing of his joke writing has to be so good that it forces people to laugh. And it's very often through these sort of like confrontational dark subjects, which you don't hear a lot of people broach in the kind of way that he does, in a smart way to write a smart joke, you know?
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing.
You're still laughing about
Not because it's not true, but just because, the delivery was great.
Very, very rude.
I mean, you've done a lot of performances, but I've never seen you do stand-up, so it was also that.
No, not done stand-up, no.
Maybe you should.
Maybe
Although,
I'll do a type 5
it's gonna be
on the
really
next
hard
episode.
Just too good looking. Can't do it.
Well, audio format, it might work.
I guess we'll see in some months.
Face for radio. We've kind of talked about a lot of different things. It sounds like you learned a lot from the festival as well. Maybe more than you had done even going to previous festivals as well. What were the like 3 big things that you took away from Berlinale?
Oh, that's such a networking question.
No, I know, but like I want to kind of like maybe
no,
let
it's a
me
good
rephrase
question.
it.
I'm just stalling.
What was it good? Did you have fun?
I did have fun. It was hard. It was hard.
Yeah. It's work, right? It's work.
And I definitely learned that, like, too many things.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot about the industry, and which is really interesting, having already been in it for, 10, 12 years. There's always more to learn. And actually, no matter how old you get, there is always more to learn, because the industry is constantly changing. Every year they have more talks on AI and more talks on streaming and that kind of thing. Like, it's a really fluid industry.
Yeah.
But also with a lot of traditions, which is a weird contradiction. What I was saying before about being yourself is the best way, because the best connections come from that. And it was actually something that Corin said to me before I went, because I was feeling a bit, not as much as anxious, but a bit trepidatious about going, because I'd only managed to get a few meetings. That was it before, because you can email everyone before you get the contacts list and try and get meetings, but I did that so late. It's just basically not any point in doing it. Corin said to me, that's not how you're going to meet someone. You're going to be in the queue for the toilets and you'll start chatting to someone there. She was so right, because not only were the people that I met in the cafe some of the best people that I met, but even I went to see Mickey 17.
Oh, cool. New Robert
John
Pattinson.
One.
Yeah.
So the guy that sat next to me, the film started late, and you have to get there early to get a seat, so we had like 40 minutes before the film started, and we got chatting. And he is a recently retired cinematographer that's made German film and TV for 50 years, and his daughter and wife had got him the Berlinale ticket as a present for his retirement.
Oh, nice.
And we had such an amazing conversation. It kind of reignited my perspective on cinematography, because I've spent so long writing now and doing the kind of the writing side and the business side, and cinematography was where I started. And that was really amazing to talk to a really, really experienced cinematographer about the director-cinematographer relationship and what that means. And then we went for coffee another day as well, which was a reminder to be open to the kind of magic of interaction, that it's never going to be the thing you expect, and not to force things, and actually just to be yourself and be open, which is, I don't know if it's something that I learned, but it's something that I was reminded of.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like my worst nightmare. Yeah.
And I learned that I can do that. Like I'd forgotten, which is like such a personal thing to say. So I don't know how useful it is for people listening, but
sure.
the first couple of days were really hard. And then I kind of found that rhythm where I remembered, it's just talking. I can talk to someone at the train station. That's fine.
Yeah. You're talking to me right now.
Talk to you all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So last question. Would you go again?
Oh yeah, definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
I came away, I know 30 new people that are
bloody hell,
not just people that I want to.
I don't know 30 people.
Know 30 people.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just from a business follow-up perspective, but people that I genuinely want to see again and chat to and find out what they're doing. And it's being part of the industry in a very active way, and it was so motivating.
It's got you going on to Cannes now as well, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a whole...
It's going to be a whole nother episode of Far From Idea.